We now have in the studio the beneficiary of that primaries to the state, his position, Senator Emmanuel Boacha. He is the APC governorship candidate in Taraba and the senator representing Taraba South to talk to us about this. And also the chairman, Senate Committee on Procurement. Thank you for joining us on Daybreak this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I appreciate this.
Well, I'm sure you've heard, from one of the aspirants in that primary elections,
Yes.
Senator Yusuf Abubakar. What's your own account of what transpired?
Well, I'm a little bit taken aback, and at the same time, I'm not surprised because, like he said, he's in court. And the court is where people went or go to seek redress. The purpose of the 2022 Electoral Act, in our mind as the lawmakers, was to address some flaws in the past exercise or experiences we had prior to now. What played out in Taraba State was a carefully hatched plot by the opposition party, by the PDP, which was uncovered. So when the APC uncovered the plot, it went fast ahead of the opposition. We are aware in the party that some of us actually were working with the PDP. I joined the APC shortly, I think 6 months or thereabout before the primaries. But I've been working with the APC, I've been issue. The reason being that we needed a platform where we could change the narrative in Taraba State. So when I came from the PDP, the government in the state, which is a PDP government, saw in me a threat to the PDP and tried, in fact, from the day I made up my mind to decamp to the APC, the PDP government worked hard to ensure that that was not possible, to abort it, so to speak.
Sorry, just to be clear, you said you were working with the APC before your joining of the APC?
Sure, because
while you were in PDP?
Sure, because the PDP was actually isolating me. The primaries that took place in the PDP took place without my participation. So I felt since I was more or less a member that was not functioning, I was not a functional member of the PDP. So I decided to work out an alternative platform wherein I will contest an election. Now what I'm saying in essence is I was literally out of the PDP, but I was there. My spirit was not in the PDP.
How long were you out of the PDP? How long was your spirit out of the PDP before you actually joined the APC?
In fact, more than 9 months. More than 9 months before I finally joined the APC. Now, why I am taking you to this historical excursion is to understand the background information, where I'm coming from. So when I came into the APC, remember the PDP had been in government since 1999 in Taraba State. And the APC had not had a chance to win election in Taraba State. The reason is not far-fetched, and we will leave it for another day. But I want to appreciate the wisdom of the party, even in towing the line of wisdom, the line of justice, so to speak. What do I mean by the line of justice? By undoing the opposition, by going ahead, to do that which would have been a doomsday for the APC. The PDP plotted this graph to ensure that the primaries was not held. Before we go to Taraba State, and what is not known to some of my co-contestants is that the power to conduct the primaries lies with the APC, and the panel that was assigned to conduct these primaries had no responsibility to take instructions from contestants. We were engaged as contestants on the eve of the primaries to let us know the mood of the primaries that was going to be adopted. And remember, the Electoral Act prescribes 3 moods. 1, the direct primaries. 2, the indirect primaries, and 3, the consensus method or process. When we go to the state, the panel told us that they are under instruction to adopt the direct mode of primaries. And this was resulting from the plethora of litigations we have in court. Litigations against the emergence of party officials, which Senator Yusuf was part of.
But Senator Yusuf is of the view that when your party wrote to INEC about the mode of primaries to be conducted, Taraba was excluded as not one of the states where direct primaries will be held.
Taraba was excluded in error. The state party in Taraba APC wrote earlier to the National Secretariat, this is the mode we want to use in Taraba State because of the litigations we have. And that if we adopt indirect primaries, it is going to boomerang. Just they will have an experience of the Zamfara situation, because the court had annulled the process that produced the party officials. And the party officials, of course, are going to participate in the indirect primaries. So if the party officials who participate in the primaries are nullified, then who are those that will elect the candidate will emerge? This was the wisdom that informed the letter that was sent to the National Secretariat. Now, the National Secretariat, in writing INEC, omitted Taraba. When they discovered the error, they wrote again to INEC and said, sequel to the letter we wrote to you, Taraba is supposed to be among the states that direct primaries will be used to conduct, the primaries, direct process. Are you following? So the idea is to let INEC know that that letter we wrote to you, Taraba is involved.
Some feel that that's a second thought, that perhaps that's...
No, there was a correspondence. There was an earlier correspondence between the state and the National Secretariat. If it were just thought out of the blues, then you will have said, well, this is just an afterthought. No.
Senator, this second letter that the APC now wrote to INEC to say Taraba should be part of it.
Yes.
Well, did they get the letter before the primaries? Did INEC get that letter before the primaries?
As to whether they got it before the primaries, I am aware that they wrote INEC, number one. And number two, I am aware that it is for INEC to know that there are 3 processes involved. The party can choose any process. It is not unlawful when you say, we didn't include this process in our communication to INEC. We passed the Electoral Act. I'm a signatory to the Electoral Act. It does not nullify a process. But the most important thing is, among the 3 processes, which one was adopted? You inform INEC for their information. It does not nullify a primaries if INEC you don't communicate which process was adopted. But the most important thing, among the processes, which one was adopted?
So, Senator, in the primaries that you took part in,
yes,
what mode was adopted?
Direct primaries. Now, why I said there was a plot from the government at the state, the talks that overwhelmed the officials at the designated venue had to relocate to the police headquarters to save their life. We were all there. They were, and most these talks were mobilized by some of my opponents. Like I said, I think we could finger 1 or 2 of them who were working with the state governor. And we were monitoring correspondence between the state governor and even the headquarters of the police. The panel chairman, Lawrence, who was there earlier in the day, one of their members was attacked and assaulted, injured. So when they got the information that they were the police headquarters, the governor, through our intelligence gathering, was constantly in touch with him. Get across to the panel, let him denounce that there was no election, because we knew that they were going to frustrate the election. The party at the state now, in its wisdom, advised the panel, send people to the local government. Remember, direct primary is not held at the headquarters. It's only for the local government. In every of the ward, 168 wards, the elections were held there. So you go to the ward or your local government and supervise the election. You don't come and stay in Jalingo.
Were INEC representatives at this?
Very well.
At this
in
election?
All of this, INECs were involved. In all of this. The evidence is there. The fact that we have empirical evidence that INEC was involved in this. And in the Electoral Act which we passed, we gave INEC a very, very important responsibility of supervision. So INEC was directly involved. The facts are there. And I begin to wonder, somebody will come and sit on a public television and tell the world that there was no primaries. While they were with the panel chairman, the results started filtering in. That was at about 2:33. That was what gave rise to the insisting that the panel chairman must say there was no primaries. Otherwise, we will cut off your head, they were telling him. And police were saying, well, talks had taken over the police headquarters. Don't mind, police are there. How many people don't know that police cannot protect you in many instances in this country? The danger, the degree of insecurity in this country. Now the police had to use wisdom to manage the talks because they had literally overwhelmed the headquarters. And the CP was saying, telling the panel chairman is still there, is somebody that this can be confirmed from him. Tell these people that you are not aware that primaries is going on. Otherwise, they will not leave here and they will attack you.
Senator, there was something Senator Yusuf said yesterday. He said that the panel committee, they were inside the headquarters. You just said that the talks were outside, which means that they were under some form of protection.
The talks were
outside. Did they have to say that there was no primaries if they were under some form of protection at that point?
Let me tell you that the talks were outside and inside. I was there.
Talks were inside the headquarters?
Yes, the talks were outside and inside. And the governor that we had monitored, whose correspondence with the police were monitoring, had at one point insisted that the police must get them to, some of these statements are kept as a classified information. You don't just delve into them like that. But we knew what was happening. And we know in party politics, one party that is feeling threatened by the strength of the other will work to ensure that they undermine whatever process that is at stake that will bring forth their collapse. So this is exactly what played out in Taraba State. The idea was for the PDP to ensure that the primaries were not conducted. But the party went faster ahead. And while this process was going at the police headquarters, the party had dispatched the returning officers, which the panel had posted.
Senator,
yes.
Primaries is an internal issue of
Absolutely.
the APC.
Absolutely.
And I keep hearing you saying the PDP was interested, didn't want your primaries
I now understand, because I am involved in this game. You are not a politician. Whoever tells you that no one party is interested in the activity of another party does not understand the dynamics of politics.
Does it have that influence, though?
It is a covert action. Are you following? It's a covert action. You plan proxies. I told you that some of the contestants were actually sponsored by the governor. Gave them money to go and procure forms in the APC.
That's a strong allegation,
It is. It is.
And you have proof to these allegations.
We have information. We have verifiable information that we can say it is true. There are recorded discussions. Are you following? I am speaking from position of knowledge. And those involved know themselves. As much as I don't pinpoint one particular individual, they know. No politician in this country doesn't know that it is your business to be interested in the business of another political party. If you don't know, let me let you know now. No political party doesn't get interested. If you say PDP is not interested in what is going on in the APC, then you need to know more. And if you say the APC is not interested in what is going on in the PDP, then you need to be schooled more.
Are you concerned that this could lead to a situation where the APC in Taraba State will lose out in the coming 2023 election?
How will the APC lose out in Taraba State? The primaries were conducted
because of litigations. There are court issues here.
Well, litigations, you can't stop litigations. But what the court is interested is evidence. Now, was the primaries conducted? Yes. By who? By the APC. By which panel? By the Lawrence panel. And electoral officers who went to the local government and wards are there and have testified. And INEC, that supervised the election, testified that there were primaries. And you are saying there was no primaries because you wanted to conspire with an opposition party to abort the process. That didn't work out. And that does not mean the primaries were not held.
All these people that have gone to court, did they take part in these primaries? The one that was held.
Yes, they took part. All of them took part.
Okay, Senator.
Senator Yusuf didn't even come second in the primaries. The person that came second didn't even go to court, Senator Manzo. Senator Yusuf, I think, came with fourth or fifth.
So they all took part. Senator, why was your announcement, your declaration as candidate of the APC done at the airport?
Now, that is a good question. If you see the atmosphere in Jalingo that day, you will understand why Lawrence conceded to the demands of the aspirant and the police. Because for the CP, he needed an atmosphere to operate because the atmosphere was charged. And the CP said, you need to consider that these people can leave this place. The CP was afraid of an explosion. So he told Lawrence himself was seeing what the talks were doing, brandishing weapons and all that. We'll cut off your head. Nyambri Banza, that is what they were telling him. We are going to kill you. Whoever you are in that atmosphere, you will submit. And if you watch the video that Lawrence says he's not aware of the primary, you will know that there can never be an atmosphere of duress or situation of duress than that. He said, as you can see in the video, I'm not in the right frame of mind. And one of us had been assaulted and he's now in the hospital. Well, as for primaries, I'm not aware whether they're conducting primaries. They now clap hands. That is what we wanted to hear. So when they left, he slept in one of the houses of the aspirant. And it was from there he came in the morning.
He slept in the house of an aspirant? He's supposed to be an independent umpire, as it were.
Let me tell you, one of the aspirants that is not satisfied with the process got across to him, come, let me take you into my custody, let me give you refuge. Otherwise, they will kill you because I'm from this town, I'm from Jalingo, a former minister. So they slept in his house. It was from his house they went to collect the result. Because the collection of the result normally is done by some of his officials. It was Lawrence and one other. Some other officials were the secretariat. He joined them in the secretariat, collected the result, and they left because the talks were all over looking for Lawrence. All over looking for Lawrence. It was when he went, he sent out to media men, meet me at the airport. Because to announce result, the law does not designate any specific place to announce result. Not to my knowledge. But as a panel, you have the power to announce result once you finish collection.
All right.
It was at that point.
Okay, now there are those the primaries are over.
Yeah.
The issue is still subject to, litigation and all that, right? But there are those, you still need the support of your party men. Some of whom are aggrieved. And they feel that with you as the flag bearer of the party, the APC is likely not going to win that election because they feel that you do not have that kind of popularity.
Oh, really?
That will guarantee the success of your party in that election. What do you say to that?
Well, first and foremost, we have commenced reconciliatory processes are in place. In fact, some of the aspirants, or one had even withdrawn his case in court. And we are following up on Senator Yusuf to see reason. The APC needs a candidate that will win this election. And I can tell you without fear of contradiction that we're heading for victory in Taraba State. The PDP, the government in the state know this. They know that the APC will win this election. Square. There is no doubt about it. I have been in the state. I have been in the landscape for well over 3 decades. I have been in the National Assembly since 2003. I came from the House of Representatives. I've been the State Assembly member.
But you are new to the APC. You have been in the PDP all along.
Yeah. I've been the PDP that have been winning the election. The APC had not won the election. And I am in the APC now by the grace of God to ensure that the APC wins the election. Are you following?
So it's about you, not the party, is that what you're saying?
Well, the party needs a candidate that will win the election. Remember the party is a platform. The party needs candidates. And we're in an age where candidates matter in winning the election in this country. Are you following? So if you are popular, you are accepted by the people, and you have the right platform, you will win.
Senator,
I choose yes. Let me know politician.
There are some people in your state that have said that you have the backing of certain people in Abuja, and that you are an Abuja politician.
Oh, really?
That's an allegation that some persons have made in your state.
Oh, that I'm an Abuja politician.
That,
okay, let me give you a rundown of my profile. An Abuja politician is somebody who is supposed to be based in Abuja and doesn't go home. If I don't go home, I couldn't have been winning the election consistently since 1999. Are you following? If there is anybody who is a rural politician than me, I am yet to know, because I serve in the State Assembly. I serve as commissioner. State Assembly, I won the election twice under Abacha's transition. When he died, Abdul Salam came, revived the transition. I contested again. I contested in PDP. First, I won in UNCP. The transition was cancelled after the death of Abacha, and I contested in PDP, won to the State Assembly. I served as commissioner. I contested in 2003 to come to the House of Representatives. And since then, I have been in the National Assembly, winning the election. How could I be associated with Abuja politics? I am known to be a rural politician. I have
the issue about you being an Abuja politician is that you seem to have more support or backing from maybe the national headquarters of your party than at the state level.
Find out from the party, the APC in the state, they know what they want. So the APC at the state actually knows very well the terrain. They know me, they know all of us contesting. I don't want to speak as if I were sounding a proud person, and that is the area of caution. But the APC at the state knows who will win this election. And so they are solidly behind somebody that will win the election. And that is why they mobilize in my favor. Are you following? So the mobilization cut across the regions.
Was it the APC in Abuja and the APC in the state? Or
the APC in Abuja gets its input from the APC at the state. The APC at the state is like serves a feedback position to the national headquarters. The national headquarters does not stay in Taraba.
But what do you say
They depend on information from party members from Taraba State and party officials.
But what do you say to those who feel that they have been in the APC in Taraba State for as long as APC has been
how
in
many
existence?
How many of them have been winning
the
elections
for the party? Sacrifices for the party, and here you are from the PDP all of a sudden out of,
The bottom line is victory. That is what every party wants. You must have been servicing the party, and if you cannot win, your service becomes vain.
Senator, you keep talking about victory, and that's a good thing to talk about. But however, Taraba has always been governed by the PDP.
Yes.
So it therefore means that ordinarily the APC is facing a Herculean task in front. Now the APC has internal problems. So how is it going to surmount all of this to face the PDP?
You know, something new has to be done. The APC has been failing because it keeps doing one thing consistently. That is why this time the APC decided that they should experiment and do something new. Are you following? So the crisis in APC, the so-called crisis in court, is by a few who feel disenchanted and who look at the party as their personal property.
Senator, this a few, they are powerful. In your Taraba South,
we are talking about majority. Democracy is about number.
But right in your own Taraba South,
yes,
we have pro-Buacha, we have pro-SK already at this point.
Naturally. Even in your household, if you have 10 children, you can always have one that may not be with you. You will always have a black bean, So it's normal. There's nothing unusual about that. I am not saying everybody is behind me. If you want to contest election, if there is no voice of opposition, please run away from that election.
Okay.
Don't contest.
Are you concerned whether or not your chances will be affected by the decisions of your party at the national level, specifically with regards to the issue of the presidential ticket of your party?
Whether my chances will be affected how?
Yes.
The APC in Taraba is poised to win. The indices on ground are there. You can run a public opinion, go to Taraba, take a ride around the state. The PDP has failed monumentally in the state. Governance...
I'm talking about the
Senator, you were there until just 6 months ago.
Yes, I left because of disagreement arising from inability to deliver. I have never been associated with failure. That is why I had to leave. Yes.
Well, I'm specifically talking about, you know, the same faith ticket, right, and the Taraba politics as well.
Yes.
Whether or not that could also, you know, because the perception about your party, the APC, and the presidential candidate, you know, has received certain reactions from across board. So what are the likelihood of that affecting your chances?
How does it affect my chance? My name is Emmanuel Boacha. I'm not a presidential candidate. I'm a gubernatorial candidate. The people know me and I know them. How does it affect me? I don't understand. Maybe you ask your question more, put it more succinctly.
So what's your reaction
understand.
to the bill that has been proposed by Senator Smart Ademi, your colleague in the Senate?
I think the bill is a good idea because it will keep us out of this tension, this unnecessary tension. Remember, secularism of Nigeria is enshrined in the Constitution. The freedom to worship is in the Constitution. Now, the bill, there are maybe some caveat that we need to introduce in the bill. For example, if you say there can't be a Muslim ticket or a Christian ticket, you know, this legislation must also take root in the state. Now, what about a state that is almost 90% Muslims or 90% Christians? So these are the areas that we will have to penalty. But Nigeria as a country, we have multiplicity of religions, and the major ones are two, Christianity and Islam. Now, the religion is so sensitive to the people. Somebody may be a religionist, but he may not be a righteous person. Are you following? So for religion, he will be willing to die. There are many people like that. And so a legislation like this will safeguard our peace, you know, will give us the needed peace. Because people don't understand that the calculation in the APC is actually intended for victory. Asiwaju Tinubu, I know this is what he told me personally. He is from the Muslim minority in the south, and Shetima is from the Muslim majority in the north. Now, the two are supposed to pair up and win the election. So the consciousness of what it will happen to the Christian faith in the north was not there. You know, right. So the preoccupation was, we must win this election. And anything short of this could have probably caused what they do not want.
Right,
that is the understanding I have from the presidential candidate. Now to the legislation. Next time, it will serve a guide to the parties on which candidate you are choosing from the... For instance, if you are choosing a candidate from the south, you look for a formidable candidate that will pick his pair from the north, that are from both religions. Are you following? And this tension all over will be avoided. Yes.
All right, Senator, before you go, what are you saying to the people that contested with you from your state?
I have been reached, none of them all. Even Senator Yusuf have visited him in his house. And he said to me that the matter is not about me, that he is fighting the party. I said, but I'm the party's candidate. So you cannot say you are fighting the party. You are fighting me. I want us to win this election. He knows, Senator Yusuf knows I will win this election by the grace of God. He knows. But I don't know what are the issues involved, but the prayers in his matter in court is about nullifying this to go and do another primaries. As you hear me speaking, it's an election I can conduct. Whether I conduct the primaries 10 times, I am optimistic and I believe I will win.
All right.
They conduct whether by direct, whether by indirect, I know that we win that election.
All right.
And
Thank
he knows.
You so much. Thank you so much, Senator Emmanuel Boacha, the APC governorship candidate in Taraba State, and also Senator representing Taraba South, Chairman, Senate Committee on Procurement. We appreciate you. Thank you for coming on Daybreak.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right. With that, we've come to the end of Daybreak for today. In case you have missed, you can always catch up on our YouTube channel and also across all our social media platforms. My name is Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for tuning in this morning. Do it to join us same time, same station tomorrow. My name is Stella Iyaje. For now, do have a pleasant day.
Bye.